Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, January 28th. And wow, the financial world is definitely keeping us on our toes today.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a roller coaster out there.
So let's jump right into it. Tech stocks, they're trying to,
Mhm.
regain some ground after after yesterday's AI earthquake, all thanks to DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, right? That Chinese app. It seems like it's absolutely everywhere now.
It is. And they're claiming AI performance like on par with
Mm.
the big players, the big guys, but at a price that's got everyone kind of panicking, honestly.
Yeah, I can see why.
NVIDIA, for example, they took a major hit yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
but they are bouncing back a little bit today.
It's interesting though, right? Because DeepSeek is really making everyone rethink how we develop AI, all these huge investments and all this pricey hardware. Is it really necessary?
That's the question, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, even President Trump weighed in on this, call it a wake-up call for U.S. tech.
I saw that. Some are even comparing it to like a new Sputnik moment.
Yeah, a challenge to American dominance in tech for
Yeah.
sure.
Exactly. DeepSeek's success could encourage other countries to, really invest in AI heavily. And that could lead to, a
Right.
whole new era of competition and innovation.
I think a whole new AI arms race is starting.
Yeah, in a way.
Okay, well, speaking of competition, Boeing is having a rough time, to say the least. They just announced an $11.8 billion loss for 2024.
Wow.
Almost $1 billion lost every single month. Worst performance for them since the pandemic.
Yeah, they've got a lot of problems hitting them all at once. You've got safety concerns, quality control issues then, that 7-week worker strike, it's all taken a toll.
Yeah.
On production, their reputation.
Right.
Remember that incident back in January, the door panel falling off a brand new 737 MAX?
Oof, yeah.
Not a good look.
Not a good look at all. And their new CEO, he's trying to, turn things around, talking about making fundamental changes,
Yeah.
but it's a steep climb, especially when you consider that Airbus delivered more than twice as many aircraft last year.
It really goes to show, how important like a strong safety culture is and solid quality control and just healthy relationships with workers, not just for a company's bottom line, of course, but for the trust and safety of passengers all over.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about something that, powers a lot of our digital lives, but that we don't always think about. Open source software.
Oh, yeah.
The people who built these essential technologies are starting to worry about what happens next.
Yeah, as they get older, it's a big question. How do you ensure these projects continue to thrive when you're not around to lead them, attracting younger developers to contribute and maintain these often unpaid projects? That's a huge challenge.
Yeah, and it's not just about finding people to take over. A lot of these tools, they were built using older programming languages.
Right, like C.
Exactly. Newer developers might be more comfortable with, like, languages like Rust.
That's a big barrier to entry.
It is. It is.
It's like, I don't know, trying to learn a new language while also trying to fix a car engine.
That's a good analogy.
The open source community is. Exploring solutions, though, like adopting newer languages, even in projects like Linux, and setting up foundations to provide support and guidance.
Makes sense. They're going to make it easier for the next generation to get involved. Okay, let's talk about Roman Abramovich, the Russian oligarch. Seems like he's been up to some shady business with his yacht collection.
Oh!
Leaked documents have uncovered a pretty elaborate scheme to dodge millions of euros in VAT. That's value-added tax.
I know what VAT is.
Right, of course.
So what did he do?
Well, it involved leasing yachts to a company in Cyprus,
Oh.
which then chartered them back to Abramovich-controlled companies
Huh.
in the British Virgin Islands.
Oh, I see.
So it created this illusion of commercial use, allowing him to sidestep paying VAT on both the purchase and upkeep of the yachts.
So basically, he was renting his own yachts to himself.
Pretty much, yeah. Some next-level creative accounting.
Wow. Legal experts are calling it straight up criminal tax evasion.
Yeah, not good. Abramovich claims he was in the dark about the whole thing, and that he just relied on his advisors.
Interesting.
This whole case really highlights, I think, the murky world of offshore tax havens and the lengths some people go to avoid paying their fair share.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's move on to crypto. The odds of a Dogecoin ETF being approved this year have shot up after Bitwise Asset Management filed an application with the SEC.
Really?
Yeah, and some analysts are even saying Dogecoin could hit $15 if that happens.
Wow, that'd be huge for Dogecoin. An ETF would open the door for, like, big institutional investors to get in on the action, give it a lot more legitimacy, to potentially drive the price way up.
It's amazing to think that this coin that started as a joke has become a major player in the crypto market.
It really is.
It shows you how unpredictable this space can be. For some digital drama, the federal Medicaid website went down nationwide today.
What?
Yeah, state programs and other health payment systems were locked out. The White House is blaming a technical outage. But the timing is, well, interesting, to say the least.
It does raise some eyebrows, doesn't it? Especially since it happened right as President Trump announced his controversial federal spending freeze.
Right.
It makes people even more worried about the impact this administration is having on essential services.
And remember, that freeze targets $3 trillion in federal spending across sectors like healthcare, education, and clean energy.
Yeah, this is not small potatoes.
It's not. And just a reminder, a federal judge has put a temporary hold on that spending freeze while they figure out the legalities.
Okay.
So we'll have to see how this whole thing shakes out.
The judge's decision definitely throws a wrench in the works and shows that the administration might face some legal roadblocks in pushing through this freeze.
Yeah, and the impact on those key sectors, especially healthcare, could be huge. So it's a story worth watching closely. Let's end this segment on a slightly more positive note. 89bio, a company focused on liver and cardiometabolic diseases, just announced a $250 million stock offering.
Okay.
They're planning to use that money to develop and bring new therapies to market.
That's a major investment in 89bio's research and development efforts. Shows how much interest there is in finding innovative treatments for these diseases, which affect millions of people all over the world.
Absolutely, that's a good point. Okay, that's it for part 1 of our news roundup. Hang tight, we'll be right back with more breaking news and analysis.
You know, we've talked about the initial shock to the markets, but what does this DeepSeek thing really mean for the future of AI, you think?
It's the question, isn't it? I mean, if they can really deliver on their promise, similar performance at a fraction of the cost, it could totally change the game in terms of who has access to AI technology.
Right. Smaller businesses, organizations that couldn't even dream of affording AI before might suddenly be able to get in on the action.
It could level the playing field.
Exactly.
But of course, some people are worried that DeepSeek's success could threaten U.S. dominance in AI. What do you think about that?
It's a challenge, for sure, but competition often leads to faster innovation, right? DeepSeek's entry into the market. It could push U.S. companies to become more creative, more efficient in their AI development.
So it could actually be a good thing in the long run.
It's possible. It's like, a high-stakes game of chess.
Right. But of course, we can't ignore the fact that DeepSeek is a Chinese company. And there are legitimate concerns about data privacy and potential links to the Chinese government.
No, absolutely. Those concerns are totally valid, and they deserve careful consideration.
Yeah.
It is worth noting, though, that Perplexity AI, the company, backed by Jeff Bezos that's using DeepSeek's model, they insist that all data is being processed in the U.S. and Europe.
So they're trying to be transparent.
Yeah, they're trying to address those concerns head on.
Okay, but some critics are still skeptical about whether DeepSeek's technology is really groundbreaking or just a copycat of existing models.
It's hard to say for sure at this point. AI development often involves, building on existing research in open source mode. So the key question is whether DeepSeek has made significant original contributions or if they've just repackaged existing technology with a new name.
Good point. It seems like we need more time to really see how this whole DeepSeek saga unfolds.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears back to Boeing for a minute. Their massive losses are really a stark reminder of the challenges facing the aviation industry.
Yeah.
What are the biggest takeaways from their situation, do you think?
Well, it shows how interconnected everything is, right? In a complex industry like aviation, you have safety concerns, they can erode public trust, that leads to production delays, and then ultimately financial losses. And then you add in labor disputes like that strike Boeing faced, and it just creates this downward spiral.
It's like a domino effect.
Exactly.
One problem leads to another, and their struggles are in such stark contrast to Airbus's success.
Yes.
What's helped Airbus pull ahead, in the aircraft manufacturing race?
Well, I think Airbus has done a better job of diversifying their product portfolio and maintaining a more stable production process. They also been more successful at managing their supply chain and avoiding major safety incidents.
Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of managing complexity, the open source software community is facing its own sustainability challenges.
Absolutely. As we talked about earlier, attracting younger developers and transitioning to newer programming languages. Those are key to ensuring these vital projects can continue to thrive. It's about building a more sustainable ecosystem.
Right, for the future. The open source model has been so successful in driving innovation.
It has.
But as the original creators get older, how can the community ensure their legacy continues?
Well, one way is to establish foundations, right? That can provide financial and logistical support for these projects. Another is to make contributing to open source more appealing to younger developers, maybe by highlighting the career benefits of getting involved.
Yeah, make it more enticing. Okay, let's circle back to that yacht tax scheme. What are the broader implications of this case? I mean, beyond just one wealthy individual trying to dodge taxes.
Well, the Abramovich case really exposes the challenges of fighting tax evasion, especially when it involves complex offshore structures. It also raises questions about the role of professional advisors in facilitating these types of schemes.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, how often does this happen?
Right.
It's a classic example of, the ultra-wealthy using loopholes to avoid paying their fair share.
Absolutely. These kinds of tax avoidance strategies, they deprive governments of significant revenue that could be used for, public services, social programs. This case could lead to increased scrutiny of offshore tax havens and calls for greater transparency in financial dealings.
Transparency is definitely a hot topic these days. Speaking of which, let's talk about that Dogecoin ETF.
Okay.
What are the potential benefits and risks, do you think?
Well, a Dogecoin ETF would make it much easier for institutional investors to get exposure to this cryptocurrency, which could push the price up and give it more legitimacy.
Right.
But it could also increase volatility and expose investors to greater risk.
So it's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, in a way.
Dogecoin has come a long way from its meme origins.
It really has.
It's a fascinating example of the unpredictable nature of the crypto market.
Absolutely. The crypto market is known for its wild price swings, lack of regulation. An ETF could introduce some stability, but it could also attract speculative investors looking for quick profits.
Yeah, that's the danger. Okay, let's get back to that Medicaid website outage.
Okay.
What are the potential consequences of this disruption, especially with the spending freeze looming?
Well, the outage has already caused a lot of inconvenience and worry for healthcare providers and patients. If the spending freeze goes into effect, it could lead to even deeper cuts in funding for Medicaid and other essential health programs.
Making a bad situation even worse. It's a worrying situation for the millions of people who rely on these programs for their health care.
Absolutely. The potential impact of the spending freeze on healthcare is particularly troubling. It could lead to reduced access to care, longer wait times, increased financial burdens for patients.
And while the judge's decision to temporarily block the freeze offers some relief, it doesn't solve the underlying problem of the federal budget deficit.
It doesn't, and this whole situation really highlights the complex debate over government spending and the role of social safety net programs. We need a balanced approach that prioritizes the well-being of vulnerable populations while also addressing fiscal responsibility.
It's a tough balancing act.
It really is.
Let's take a quick break here. We'll be back in a moment with more on the biopharmaceutical industry, the DeepSeek controversy, and that Coca-Cola recall in Europe. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back, and let's start with 89 Hour Bio and their $250 million stock offering. This seems like a big moment for them. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a significant investment. This cash infusion will likely accelerate their development of new therapies for liver and cardiometabolic diseases and potentially, get them to market faster.
So it could really make a difference for patients.
It could, because these are areas where we really need better treatments. Millions of people are affected by these conditions.
It's encouraging for sure. It shows that investors are, betting on innovative therapies.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's jump back into the AI world for a second. Perplexity AI's decision to use the DeepSeek model is still causing a lot of controversy.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. It really raises questions about the global nature of technology, data security, and the potential for censorship.
Those concerns aren't going away anytime soon.
They're not, especially with, the U.S. government already raising red flags about DeepSeek. It's a reminder that technology and politics are very much intertwined.
Yeah, and as AI becomes more powerful and more integrated into our lives, these issues are only going to become more important.
Absolutely. It's a conversation we need to have as a society.
For sure. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about Coca-Cola's product recall in Europe. What can other food and beverage companies learn from this, do you think?
Well, it highlights the importance of strict quality control, At every step of the process, companies need to be transparent and act quickly if there are any safety concerns.
Yeah, consumer trust is everything.
It is, especially when it comes to food and beverages. Product safety has to be the top priority.
Okay, well, that wraps up our financial news roundup for today. We covered a lot of ground. Chinese AI, the challenges facing Boeing, open source software, even a yacht tax scheme.
It was a busy day.
It really was.
The tech landscape is changing so fast. Global competition is heating up. And we're seeing the ethical implications of new technologies playing out in real time.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
But it's a reminder that staying informed is crucial. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and analysis. Thanks for tuning in.